Okay, I'm just waiting on notifications, sir. Here we go. Perfect. Boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have an incredible guest with us, one who's going to give us some information as well as some inspiration, and that is none other than Brother Lyle Muhammad. First of all, assalamu alaikum, sir. I can't hear you. It's like you're on mute right now, bro. Lyle. You're on mute. Okay, sir.
Apologize, my dear brother. I said, walaikum salam, but it gives me joy to give you the greetings, good brother. You give me so many flashbacks there, brother.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Well, Brother Lyle, for those who don't know, I mean, you know me and my siblings, our whole life, and ever since I was a junior FOY, I remember you being a strong representative and very serious and intimidating figure. So it's an honor that I get to hear your life journey because I know you only from the outside looking in. So I look forward to this, sir.
Praise be to Allah. It'll be my honor and pleasure, dear brother.
Yes, sir. Well, the first question we want to know, Brother Lyle, is when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
I remember being 18 years old. I was a college freshman at Salisbury University in Maryland. And there was a small conversation that took place, and somebody mentioned the name Jesse Jackson, and someone, said, he's a sellout. And then somebody mentioned the name Farrakhan. And it was the first time I heard the name Farrakhan. And then somebody said, he's a hate teacher. And I didn't pay any mind. The conversation went left, back, right. But that summer, I was at home listening to WPFW radio and 89.3 in the Washington, D.C. area. And I heard a message from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that changed my life forever. And I think the most compelling thing about it was that when I first heard his name, it was associated as a hate teacher. And what I received was so opposite, opposite of that. It just had a profound impact on me from that day going forward, beloved.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah.
And that was about, for context, I guess that was about 1985.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Beautiful. Yes, sir. Okay, so once you accepted it, how did your family and friends, how did they handle that?
Okay, well, that was the process, like most of us. I heard, and of course, I didn't accept right away.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I definitely accepted in spirit, as I was growing into my own maturation process, and beginning to feed individuals what I was getting, while I was still in school. But what I do remember is it was time for me to leave. So this had to be around 1988, 89. And I took this particular professor's class, to be quite honest, only because I got so much from her husband. I'm a predominantly white school. I'm already trying to get with the brothers and sisters anyway, but that's the only reason why I took her class. And she was an education teacher. And after about a week or two in the class, she saw my mind was way somewhere else. She pulled me up back. She said, "Don't come back anymore. I want you to write a paper about American education and the Black male child. And I want you to turn it in at the end of the semester for your grade." And I mentioned that because that was the paper where I realized that it was only the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that could resurrect and save our people. And I wrote that in the paper, by the way, too. I mentioned also Marcus Messiah Garvey and his movement, but of course, we're still standing. So that was the reality there. I only say that to say I accepted in 1993 and actually got registered then. But my family, they saw the changes in their brothers, so they were much appreciative.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And what was the climate like in Baltimore, back then, when you accepted?
Josh, let me tell you something about Baltimore and DC, and just to be quite frank, I firmly stand and believe today that in terms of training in the Nation of Islam, that the Mid-Atlantic is West Point. It's our West Point. And when you say, what was it like? to be around and to be trained and reared. See, my coming into the nation, a lot of people who aren't from the area may not know our brother Josh. It was a little peculiar in the sense is I was coming up out of the so-called nationalist community. You know, brother Lyle was already a name on the scene in the activist community, and so me coming into the nation, it stirred the pot a little bit in Baltimore. But I remember coming into the training under some of the best trainings that I could ever want to have come into under the nation. And so the climate was about training, brother. And the climate was about, the minister was on the move. And you know, the Baltimore, DC area, when the minister moved, we moved, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so being involved in that, dear brother, was very divine for me. And I'll say this too. It was also a very critical time nationally for Black people. The National Black Summits that were taking place there, they were taking place right in Baltimore. And I had a chance to be right there. I had a chance to just be tutored in so many different ways. Kudos to brother Nabah Muhammad and brother James Muhammad. I did have an opportunity to write with the Final Call, and that's because of the trainer seeing something that was in me. But being up close during those summits put me in touch with the greatest Black minds that we have. And so the climate, and then I came in when our brother Minister Jamil was here, and he always kept the public face for the Nation of Islam. And I got rooted in that training. So praise be to Allah.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so you were on more of the writing and then the ministry side of it.
That's one of the strange things about the puzzle piece of your brother. You know, we all of it, Josh.
Yes,
A
sir.
straight up top-notch soldier. You know, one of the first ones you want to call if we got a call.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know,
yes, sir.
You know, it's so funny in terms of the writing piece. You know, then I'll deal with the ministry piece. I had my own newspaper when I came into the nation. You know, I was nurtured by a brother in the community by the name of David Murphy, who taught me how to publish a newspaper. And I had a Black newspaper. So I was out soldiering. I had the Final Call in one hand, and I had my paper called The Truth in the other. And one of the brothers saw that. He didn't like that, though. He reported me to the captain, Captain Larry, brother. And see, I just thank Allah for the trainers I was under, right? Captain Larry said, he has a what? He has his own what? Newspaper? You bring him here. And so, you know, the brother reporting me, bringing me in here, and Brother Larry said, you got your own newspaper, brother? He said, yes, sir. He said, you have one? He said, how much is it? And he bought my newspaper, and I was gone, but he read my newspaper. He's the reason I ended up writing for the Final Call, by the way. You know, and so where, you know, he knew how to handle me, brother. Some brothers thought I was being disrespectful because I had my own thing, and you know, but what a training it was. And I bring that up because the captain, like he's supposed to, he recognized the talent in that vein. And, you know, by Allah's grace, in terms of the ministry, dear brother, you know, thanking Allah, of course, for Brother Jamil and for Brother Student Minister Carlos. You know, some of us were born to do this work from our womb, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But their cultivation and their teaching of your brother, and all of the student ministers that not only came up out of Baltimore, but that came through Baltimore. One thing Student Minister Carlos made sure of, if there was a pioneer that was walking, talking, and available, that pioneer was teaching on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's rostrum in Baltimore. So, and we had an opportunity to be raised by some of the best. And then those table talks, they do what they do too, my brother.
Yes, sir. Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Okay, great. I mean, this is why I love doing the podcast, because people I've known known me my entire life. This is the most I've ever heard you speak. I'm like, okay. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. What was it like when you got to meet the Most High Mr. Farrakhan for the first time?
So, brother Joshua, I've had the honor of having a one-on-one with the minister on 4 occasions. And just in progression. and not to be taken for granted. One of the brothers that trained me up in the ranks, been in the ranks 40 going on 50 something years, he just had the opportunity to shake the minister's hand not so long ago. We should not ever take for granted that. And that's why I call these four encounters, even though the first one was very short, but
Yes,
they're
sir. Yes,
still an
sir.
encounter.
Yes, sir.
The
Yes,
very
sir.
the very first time, my brother, I was on front door post of his hotel. We were in Washington, D.C., and he was exiting out. And you know, I just immediately popped to attention and said, "Thank you, sir." And then he stopped and said, "Thank you."
Mm, mm,
That was encounter number one.
mm, mm.
Might not mean much to other folk, but it means something to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So in encounter number two, it actually happened around one of those national black summits that took place in Baltimore. And brother Joshua, just like I have been ever since I've been in the nation, uh, and before I came into the nation, I've always worked with our youth, brother.
Mm,
That's
mm.
always been my heart. That's always been my passion.
Yes, sir.
And so I had the dubious opportunity. I had to be writing for the final call at the same time, but then I had to be the city's representative for youth development at
Mm,
one of the forums.
mm, mm,
And so the minister came around to greet everyone. And I was a young zealot at this time. And I had this message. I said, I have to tell the minister this.
mm,
And I said, I don't know if I'm going to get an opportunity to tell him this or not. So I was either foolish enough or bold enough when he came around to greet me. And I said, uh, Brother Minister, I just want you to know I am pregnant with the vision of our nation.
mm, mm,
He looked me in the eye. He said, well, good. Then you have to help me build it.
mm,
That
mm,
was
mm.
encounter number two,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
you know. Encounter number three, I had the blessed opportunity of being a student minister representing East Baltimore. We had a thriving study group in East Baltimore, and Minister Carlos took me with him to Chicago on a Mother's Day, and the minister was teaching, and at the end of it, he greeted each and every minister that was there, and so humbled to be there. And I remember just being on my knee and the minister asking, where you from, brother? Baltimore. Oh, Baltimore, that's a beautiful city. And then he said these words, brother. He said, don't ever teach for money.
Mm,
He said, don't ever worry about that, brother. Just always teach, but don't ever teach for money. That was encounter number three. And the last encounter and most humbling encounter, beloved, number four, took place a couple of years ago. And this was by way of student minister Patrick Muhammad,
mm,
you
mm.
know, who, as we were playing our role in helping to get the minister safely on to his destination, saw fit to bring me over to the minister. And he also saw fit to bear witness to the minister about some of the works that Allah has blessed your brother to do. And then the minister took me aside, and the minister said, I don't even feel right saying these words, brother. But the minister said, Inshallah, if I'm blessed to come back to Miami, I look forward to seeing you at the head leading 10,000 to the teachings to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And dear brother, there were so many other events that were taking place that we don't take one word, we don't take one
Right.
look
That's right.
from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to be anything of light. And so we're striving, dear brother, but those were the four opportunities that I was blessed to have one-on-one interaction with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And that's no pressure,
I've
that's no pressure, by the way, to have 10,000. You know what I'm saying?
it was so funny, dear brother, because I was listening so intently when he was talking, and then after he departed, I immediately went to my phone to try to remember what he said. But thank Allah, there was a witness bearer
Yes, sir.
right there, Brother Hakeem. Bless our brother for being there, because I didn't believe that with the minister. He said, but no, that's what the brother said to you, brother.
Yes, sir.
You
Praise
know,
be
but
to Allah.
small thing to a giant following a giant.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But okay, well, speaking of that, well, what was it? When did you go from seeing the minister as someone who may be a political speaker or an activist, but to someone who was divinely guided? Like what was it that made you think that?
Oh, brother, I knew that immediately,
Mm, mm,
that he was divinely guided. There was never a question. I remember as I was swaying back and forth about making a decision and coming into the nation, the minister did a speech at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and it was after that message that I thought that I would be best served in doing what I thought I was already doing.
mm, mm,
you
mm,
know. But I just thank Allah for brothers and sisters that kept those fishing hooks in me,
mm.
but always seeing the minister as divinely guided, but being blessed, Brother Joshua, to watch the minister elevate through his divine stages, elevate from what someone may consider to be an apostle or a messenger, to watch him elevate into what someone may call a personal savior,
Yes,
to
sir.
watch him elevate into a holy apostle, to watch him elevate into the vicar of Christ, to watch him elevate into Christ, to watch him elevate into Jesus in our midst, to watch him continuously elevate. Oh, what a humble blessing, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mm,
Beautiful.
mm,
Praise be to Allah. Okay,
mm.
well, Brother Lau, being in Baltimore, you know what I'm saying? I always, every time I interview the guests, they always say the only reference I have is the harbor and the wire. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the main streets of Baltimore,
Woo.
and then going now to Miami, where rap music, Dade County, it just seems like so. Of course, you have the beautiful background, but some of the rap music seems rough. Has there ever been a time where you were faced with fear? And if so, how have you overcome that fear?
Wow, brother. See, I'm being honest,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and I think my greatest fear may be not living up to what I should be first for my family.
Mm, mm, mm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just real talk with you, dear brother. A lot of us talk about working out in the field, but most of us looking at the field, just to be honest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh, Real talk, brother. But for those of us who are out in this mighty vineyard, brother, you try to balance, man. It's which is why I always had an affinity for the laborers' children, by the way, brother.
Mm.
Because nobody knows what that's like when your mother and your father, they are working, they are laboring, and the work that they're doing is mighty, but there's drawback, there's neglect, there's a lack of balance in that.
Yes,
And
sir.
I pray that I'm able to compensate or allow Allah to compensate in my life where that happens. But I'll just be quite honest with you in terms of what people generally call fear. Praise be to Allah. Learning what it means
Yes,
to
sir.
fear no one but Allah. And I'll be honest, right? When I first came into the nation, I give these three brothers credit. One is your father,
Praise be to Allah.
brother,
Praise be to
brother
Allah.
Sharif, right? Uh, and then Captain McKeel,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
right? And Captain Brother Larry,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Now,
sir.
those men, they had a way of putting a certain kind of fear in you, but not in the attack, the fear of God,
Mm, mm.
about not doing right by God,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
you
sir.
know? And I tell you, boy, anybody who come up underneath that training, please, you don't fear nothing out here. Not, not coming up under that training, brother.
Yes,
No,
sir.
sir.
Praise be to Allah.
Praises are due to Allah.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. Well, okay. Well, speaking of the '90s, the Mayman March. What was the
Mm,
climate like in Baltimore, Maryland, and how did it personally
mm,
impact you?
mm, mm. Wow, brother. You know, during the Million Man March, mind you, I had just officially come into the nation around 1993. And the planning phases for all that was going on in 1994,
Mm,
you know.
mm.
But, your brother loves the work. So he came right in, what's the most final call somebody's carrying? And what you need, next thing you know, I'm doing a radio show, and then the convening committee start to meet
mm, mm,
for the Million Man March, and I'm not involved, and Cat McKill sent for me,
Yes,
you
sir. Yes,
know, and so beautifully and so eloquently in that beautiful Nation of Islam military style, you encouraged me to co-chair the communications committee,
sir.
and I co-chaired that committee with one of our beloved sisters, Sister Karai, man,
Mm.
and we blew up, brother. We
Beautiful.
blew up, and Baltimore became a main figure in the planning and organizing of the Million Man March. And so I saw for the first time in my life what it looked like when black folk worked for black folk, that we could run anything that we wanted to run. We could run our own country, we could run our own city, because we watched that whole thing and we played a role. Brother Joshua, we were so involved on it that, whatever we were doing today, that was the news story for the Million Man March Planet. They would follow us everywhere, brother. But what a beautiful team. But on that day, I had the assignment. The assignment was given to me from Brother Nabar. And my assignment was to speak to, for the final call, as many different brothers and sisters as I could, brothers obviously, from as many different places as I could, and their reason for being there. And I'll never forget when that day was over. What do you write? What do you say? What do you say? But that experience, brother, it allowed me to see a whole lot and to be recorded in that article on that great holy day. That's a gift from Allah.
That's right.
That's a gift from Allah. Thank you, Brother Nabar, for that assignment, dear brother. Thank you.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. I spoke to a brother earlier, and he was talking about the Baby March, and I said it's always something I wish I could have went to. And man, because everybody from my father, everybody from your generation is always like, it'll never be nothing like that again. I'm like,
and that's the reality. And on that note, Josh, on that note, you strike me to say this, and it's about history and lineage. I'm talking to the Muslims now. History and lineage. Our babies are not going to get our history and our lineage by no damn osmosis.
That's right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We have to display it. We have to teach it. We have to show it. I was talking about you this morning, Josh, on a call that I had with some believers, and it was one of those times where it was a national junior FOI retreat. And I don't know, maybe about 300 or 400 youth from across the nation had come to Chicago for the retreat. And we were roller skating. And Kirk Franklin's song was popular at that time. Stump. We got the church and we ain't going nowhere. And I don't know if you remember this, but you, Josh, started leading a chant going around the roller skate rink with all of those Muslim youth. We got the mosque and we ain't going nowhere.
I don't remember that. How beautiful.
I remember it like it was yesterday, brother. I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember being on junior FOI retreats out in Wisconsin, dear brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Joshua, Joshua was a radical youth in the nation, right? But how do I know? Because I was a radical youth trainer in the nation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But he always yearned for what our youth needed.
Yes,
That's how we got a chance to do like real war games and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
Because
Yes,
you always spoke up.
yes,
So
sir.
I bring that up to say we can't forget about that kind of history. And to see what you're doing now, dear brother, that's not just history, that's history and lineage. Let's just be real for a minute. Too many of brothers like you and sisters like you, Brother Josh, that grow up in our nation, man, they not in the ranks, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And some of that's on us. Oh, yes, sir. Yeah. Oh, yes, sir. Some of that's on us. And that's one area we got to get better at securing and being able to foster our young people who do what you did, who submit to the teachings and to the training, who obeyed the mother and the father, who followed the teachings and became an example even for others. Then it's our responsibility to have set up for you a career to walk into.
Yes, sir.
And so
Yes.
we got work to do. So I don't know if that answered the question or not, but something made me share that.
Praise be to Allah. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Well, speaking of career, for so many people are showing you love. I can't wait to put this on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe to the People's Podcast. Brother Captain Deshane Muhammad said that's a fact. Sister Captain Brenda says beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Alhamdulillah.
And Brother Daniel E. Muhammad from Chicago, by the way, of Phoenix now, says that's a making family as well. Career training dealing with the youth. How can we encourage young people? Like, is it my method now is college? How do you deal with young people to try to get them careers? Like what's the blueprint?
We had the blueprint, we just didn't follow it, brother.
Mm, mm.
I'm guilty too. I have 6 beautiful children that range in age from 28 to 10. And I'll be the first to tell you that the younger you get in my food chain of children, the better father you probably had or received. That's
Yes,
and
sir.
so I say that to say, look, family, none of us have any excuse for not recognizing who our children are by the time they're 6 years old. Now, I'm talking about us in the nation. We do not have an excuse. Now, we can have an excuse for maybe not making a decision or seeing everything and letting other times and experiences evolve, but we have no excuse. And Brother Joshua, I teach this thing called a fistful of dollars.
Okay,
And
okay.
these are 5 things that should be mandatory for all youth. These are not the kind of things that your youth asks you or you might or maybe. They should be mandatory. And not in this particular order, but I'm going to say all 5.
Yes, sir.
Uh, every child must be made to speak a language other than the one spoken in their home. Every child must learn or practice some form of self-defense. Every child must play or have some exposure to a musical instrument, even if it's voice. Every child must learn how to do some type of craft with the hands, cooking, sewing,
Yes,
electronics, construction, right? And how many was that?
4. That's 4.
That was 4, right? And every child must play a sport. I don't care if it's golf, basketball, baseball, or tennis. Now, by exposing our children to those 5 areas,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
everything they are to be, we will see.
Mm, mm, mm.
And it will keep us from trying to force or push them down tracks that are not theirs to run. So that fistful of dollars to see. And then that's our job, to cultivate our children in that way, not of what we want, but of what we see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mm.
Beautiful. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, great.
Alhamdulillah.
I got a quick 60-second commercial break for you. Right back to Brother Lau. For all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast, I want to thank you all very much. For everyone who sponsors or make a donation to the People's Podcast, we're eternally grateful. Thank you all very much. If you like to Cash App or be a sponsor, please Cash App, please Cash App the People's Podcast, $, on the People's Podcast. My brother Rashad, street premiere media production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Thank you very much. If you all reach out to him, Sister Miriam, my sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book, both of which are available on Amazon. Please go out and get both of those. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country. We love our tiny dancers. Also in studio here in Atlanta, our brothers out of Los Angeles, MTS Car Bros, any make, any model, any year, 30 to 50% off. Thank you all very much for that. Also, Sister Rashida, Raw Communications, if you're working on a book and you need some copy editing, project management, consult development, media relations, and consulting, Thank you very much to Rock Communications, Sister Rashida. Please reach out. She has some amazing things coming. Elevated Places, where I am, what God says I am, out of Houston, Texas. Sister Melba Muhammad does a great job teaching languages, architecture, engineering. They travel all over the world. Thank you very much. We're coming right back to Brother Lyle Muhammad. Asiatic Minds is an online school. If you want your children to go to school virtually, please reach out to asiaticminds.com. Sister Sherry does a great job of cultivating the youth. Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He'll ship bow ties to you all across the country if you need some bow ties. Thank you very much, Brother Kenneth. Also, Sister Shireen Muhammad, agrichild.com. She has her own children's books, but she can help you with your books and help you also get your book into an online library. Agrichilds.com. Choose life. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad out of Chicago, COVID-19 Disinfecting Cleaning Services. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, which is both of which are available on Amazon. Brother Lau, I wanted to ask you a quick question about books. Will you ever write books dealing with the Fistful of Dollars or, mentoring?
Yeah, here's one of my nemesis there, brother. First of all, brother, after hearing all what I just heard, salute
Thank you very
to
much.
all, man. Look at all the Muslims, brother, that are moving out and using what we've been given in powerful ways to affect the planet and the people all over the world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh man, I salute Muslims that are out there doing those things, and we need to become more aware of that. So that's not me running away from the question.
Yes, sir.
I have to humbly say, dear brother, that I have been for years and years and years asked, encouraged about writing books on a few different levels, brother, from children's books on up to, but I haven't either found the time, the place, or the discipline, because I'm not just going to put it on that. It could just me developing the discipline to do that and to see the value in it. And so yeah, that's an area I got to work on, brother.
Beautiful. Okay, yes, sir. Well, hopefully
That's one of my areas for self-improvement.
Yes, sir.
Guilty
Yes,
as
sir.
charged.
Okay, well, Brother Lau, in your tenure in the nation, what has been your greatest trial, and how have you overcome that trial?
Greatest trial. I'm going to speak specific to the question because you said tenure in the nation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And there were some other things that popped up that even though family life is nation life, it's still, I want to speak to the issue of the tenure in the nation.
Yes, sir.
Because I like the way you put that, brother. I have always, brother, been one to strive to take our teachings and our way of life as possible. In order to do that, dear brother, we have to be wise as the scientists that came before us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let us not forget that God himself came to the people as a salesman. Just stop right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
you talk about a disguise for God.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Selling silk. And so, by Allah's grace, we've been able to disguise our teachings in any kind of educational form that we've been involved in, be it teaching teachers or teaching youth or what have you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's allowed us, dear brother, to really become a mosque on wheels. And so the biggest struggle is being true to who we are and what we are, keeping a stable income and being true into what we are and continuously working on self-improvement. Now, I don't want to make light of trials. My children go through trials because of the work that their father does in the nation. Make no mistake about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't want to make light of any of the trials that my family experiences. nor do I want to make light of trials that poverty brings. You know, um, so anything you've been through in terms of poverty, we've been through. Let's just be real about it. I don't feel like spending no time on it because, to be honest, it is a small thing to a giant. Because we are a man on a mission, following a man on a mission.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So those things, but being able to stay focused and steady. And now, Brother Joshua, as I look back, we can even use the word tenure. We've been able to develop businesses, agencies, and programs that are working in the community now that are just doing that. And so, I don't know. I hope that answers the question.
No, it does. It does. It does. Well, what has been your greatest joy in your tenure in the nation?
Wow. The believers and the children.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For
Yes,
two different reasons. Two different reasons. Believers, you know how other people, whether they want to admit it or not, how they look at Muslims and they just marvel at Muslims. They marvel at the way we look. They marvel at the way we talk. They marvel at our mannerisms. They marvel at Muslims. Even if they don't like us, they marvel at us.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you take time to marvel at your brothers and your sisters?
Mm, mm, mm.
What a beautiful people we are, brother.
Yes, sir.
The
Yes, sir.
believers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then to see the genius and the continued growth come out of our babies and our children, whoo, that nothing like that gives me joy. Nothing like that. Those two things for me, brother.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Okay. Well, Brother Lyle, what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? Be a Muslim.
Mm, mm.
That's another misnomer, that being a Muslim ain't fun. Look, hey, I enjoy being a Muslim.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I enjoy being with people, brother, in the capacity to do real work. I enjoy being a savior to our community. I enjoy that work. Not that, of course, we don't. If we had other things to do, brother, but that's our work right now. But aside from that, in terms of recreation, your brother, he's a lover of sports.
Okay. Okay.
He really is, and I might do a series soon called Ball and Beyond 50.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Show younger brothers how to keep it going and keep it moving, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes,
As you know, I enjoy chess, there, brother.
yes, sir. Yes,
We had some days back in your youth in terms of learning how to play chess, there, brother.
yes, sir.
But I enjoy music,
Mm.
a variety of music, dear brother. I enjoy the minister.
Beautiful.
I enjoy just listening and watching the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know,
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. But what type of music do you like to listen to, Brother?
wow, if you ask my children, probably the first word to come out their mouth would be jazz. And that's probably what I listen to the most. But I probably am pretty well rounded in music. I don't have an ear anymore for destructive messaging in music, but I do have an ear universally for music. And my children are helping me even grow in that. Mm. Following the minister's lead again, and watching my children who all play instruments and who all understand how to read music and understand certain nuances about it. I learn from them. I would probably consider myself a musicologist, though. I can probably go with the best of them, brother.
Okay.
In terms of a well-rounded musical repertoire.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Brother, I want to make sure that on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience, thank you for your sacrifice and the sacrifice of your family, because we stand on your shoulders, and we thank you for making Islam real to us, of course, in Baltimore. But for me, I always enjoyed the strength of the FOI and knowing that when I saw you that you was on my side. So I was like, man, shit, bro. We got some hitters, you know what I'm saying, everywhere. So I thank Allah for that. And I was telling someone earlier about how I want to meet the children, because I don't know your children. You know what I'm saying? We should all be closer, and how we people.
You ready for this, Josh? I gotta pause you right there, because you and my son have something in common, dear brother.
Hmm.
You and my son are DIs that the whole nation looks for.
Mm, mm, mm.
Uh, my son, one of my sons is the brother. You remember the year they did that? Muhammad don't make no cowards.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Kind
sir.
of put the little Miami Juniors on the map,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
you know, dear brother. So, you know,
That's
he
your
grew up
son?
idolizing. That's my son, dear brother.
Oh, I
That's
didn't
one of
know
my
that.
sons,
Praise be to Allah. I didn't
brother
know.
Ibrahim, dear brother. And you know, you and him have a lot in common, dear brother, just in terms of that whole DI
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
persona,
Yes,
you know.
sir.
But I do look forward to our children connection. But he looks up to you in that vein, brother.
Oh, praise be to Allah. I didn't know it was your son. I know I just found out brother Garthian's children drilled and you know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
Yeah, but I didn't know your son was a DI. Okay, that's tight. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Praise
sir.
be to Allah.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to Miami Junior FY for holding it down for years. Always
Mm-hmm.
that's good. We're always holding it down. Yes, sir. I didn't know that was your son. So now I gotta meet him. Now, I gotta
Right.
meet him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Right.
sir. My next question for you is what advice would you give to future fathers?
What advice would I give to future fathers? You better make sure you got a network of some sane fathers around you, raggedy behind. Brothers, we got to know that while we got to know that we're capable, no matter what we're faced with, we got to know that we're capable, you know, but we can't put so much pressure on us that we don't perform at all,
Mm, mm, mm,
you know,
mm.
and we can do that, you know, because fatherhood, that's a serious thing. But look, we have the greatest example in front of us. And so we have to study everything that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad has written about fatherhood and said about fatherhood.
Yes, sir.
We
Yes, sir.
have to study every single thing that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has said or written about fatherhood. Let that be our blueprint. And I'm guaranteeing you, we can't go wrong. You know, being one who's taken the juniors all over the country, I've taken the juniors all over the country,
Yes,
brother.
sir. Yes, sir.
You know, and you know, and when we out in public, man, you know, just watching people who don't even know who we are just marvel over the conversation that our young folk had,
Mm.
over their discipline, over their mannerism.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
know,
sir.
we,
Yes,
we even tricked some hillbilly white folk into giving a testimony on camera one time,
sir. Mm, mm.
lest they know they was complimenting Farrakhan's children.
Yes,
But
sir. Yes, sir.
you know, and the other thing is real too. This is this is real. You know, because we all got scars related to fatherhood.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
ain't no such thing as you being a black man in America and you ain't got no scars related to fatherhood. You know, we always talking about how trauma can be passed down from generation to generation, and it can, and it is. But we got to recognize so can healing, and we got to make up our mind to heal. My last thing on it is I remember my oldest nephew when he got married. Right, you know, he was like, "Well, you know, Unc, I'm start my own family right now. What advice can you give me from the family tree?" And I told him, straight talk. I said, "Shit, let me tell you something, brother. Sometimes it's best breaking off your own damn branch
Mm.
and planting that bad boy than taking off from the family tree." Of course, we're not saying everything from the family tree is bad, but we got to recognize what we got to add and how we can grow. But don't run away from healing, brothers. And if you got a father that's still living, you gotta do your part to mend that relationship. I ain't talking about what he's doing or what he's not doing, because it'll ruin you. And I gotta say this real quick, brother. I remember when my children were small, I would sing songs to them at night.
Mm,
And
mm,
one song was a little African song where you put family members into the song
mm,
and they
mm.
would say each other's name. Mimi Nama Pinzi, Jama Yango, I love my family. And one night, one of my children said, "Say your father." And the song I was singing went from a go happy song. Before I left that bedroom, one of my children said, "How come we don't know our grandfather?"
Mm.
And I realized that the very thing that I thought I was keeping them away from, I was actually creating. I was teaching them that if they had grandchildren, that they didn't have to be close to their grandfather. They loved their grandfather, whose born day is today, by the way.
Praise be.
Biological dad. Love you, man. You know, blessed born day to you. Children, you better make sure you call your grandfather too. Because they know him now, Josh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. So how did you mend it?
Time, and then also realizing that if I didn't, that I was deepening the wound. And I give another example on that. You know, I'm in my last marriage. I'm married now for 17 years. I was previously married for 7 years, which ended in a divorce. And so my two oldest children, they primarily grew up with me not in the home. We're not talking about every other weekend and that kind of thing. And then they're moving to Miami. But I'll never forget that my son, and mind you, I haven't been in his household since he was about maybe 5. He decided to come live with me when he was about 16 to 17 years old.
Mm.
You got to give time room sometime, and I'll treasure that year that we spent together. But just saying that time and forgiveness is real, and let us not be so big to look at other people's mistakes that we don't realize the ones that we have and the ones we're making on our own. And
Yes,
we
sir.
would want to be forgiven by our children too, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, what advice would you give to future husbands?
Wow. The first advice is don't think that you can do and be who you think you can be, you are, without the institution of marriage. That's
Mm.
number one. The second thing is the same advice I gave. Read everything and listen to everything that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad has said or written about marriage. Read everything that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has said or written about marriage. We have beautiful, beautiful guideposts, and we should follow them. And if we follow those guideposts, then we'll realize that we will all continuously evolve our families. There's nothing more that we can do than what's already been said or written. And lastly, seek the right counsel. Seek the right counsel. You have to be very, very careful who you go to for advice.
Mm.
The most important thing is that somebody means you and your family well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so that we got it all. We have all of the divine instructions. We just have to continuously strive to follow them. And I'll say this, Josh, I think it's important for me to say this. Somebody asked me at one time, what was the greatest gift that you received from the Nation of Islam? And I tell you, for me, brother, it's the self-improvement study guides. It was the self-improvement study guides that gave me two things. No matter where I am, no matter what I'm striving to be, a husband, a father, a soldier, no matter what it is, those study guides always show us that we can become better than where we are. But that's the pathway to God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
The
sir.
study guides are the pathway to becoming a God, because self-improvement eventually leads there. And so if we use those study guides in our marriage and as we develop ourselves as individuals, the blueprint for God is laid before us. And whenever you slip and stumble, because we will and we do, get back up so fast and keep moving in the right direction.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Yes,
Mm,
sir. Beautiful teaching, sir.
mm.
My
Praise be
next
to
question,
Allah.
oh, man, I can't wait to put this on YouTube. But okay, for my
Mm.
next question, and chop this interview up. But my
Mm.
next question for you, sir, is if you could see God face to face, if you could meet God face to face, um, what would you ask? If you could only ask him one question, what would you ask him?
You know, let me say this in this vein. We have that right in front of us. And he's answered all my questions, brother.
Mm, 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 mm.
It's just time to do what he said,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and you know how people are sometimes, brother, that they're awestruck and they go out of their way to be different around so-called stars.
Yes, sir.
You know, never, ever, ever, ever have I felt that in the nation, before the nation. And one of the reasons is, brother, the scripture's real. Why should I feel any different as I'm looking at the God in Joshua right now, as if I'm looking to God in another one of our brothers? In terms of what I'm saying is, even if it's Master Fard Muhammad, Master Fard Muhammad, what do I look like asking Master Fard Muhammad anything and I haven't even completed his first assignment? What do I look like asking him some more questions?
Yes,
Let
sir.
me, let me, but, I'm just being real from where I am, brother. And I believe that we have been giving the answers to everything that we need. And I'm grateful and I'm humble for that.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. If in your conversation with God, if he can only ask you one question, what do you think that he may ask you?
He surely wouldn't be asking me anything that he already doesn't know. So the only reason he would be asking me is for me to bear witness to maybe some introspection.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And,
Yes,
and,
sir.
and all of us need to bear witness to whether we're doing enough, whether we have done enough, and I know we all know we fall short of the glory of God,
That's right.
you know. But I do live by something, Brother Joshua, and I live by it. If I gotta go tomorrow, brother, praise be to Allah. May the work I've done, may that speak for me, brother.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't care what people gotta say, brother. May the work I've done, because if I haven't done anything else, I have at least, at least, we say strive. And I continue to strive, brother. And I look, I just bear witness through others, brother, that Allah has blessed us to do some mighty work, dear brother. And praises are due to Allah, but there's so much that needs to be done. You know, I you know, I don't know. That's what comes to mind when you ask the question, brother.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. Well, what would you want your legacy to be, bro, Lyle?
Whatever it is,
Mm, mm.
I can be real, brother, and I can be real and say I'd be lying if I didn't say Allah didn't bless us to touch a lot of people, brother. I'd be lying, brother. I would be lying, brother, if if I didn't bear witness to the fact that Allah has used your brother to help transform thousands of lives, brother. And so I have to bear witness to that reality, so the legacy, it already is what it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, uh, let the work say what it is. But I do hope and pray, dear brother, that in the end of it all, that people understand that our Muslim fight song, that we will surely win.
Allahu Akbar.
That's what makes doing this work such a pleasurable thing. We
Yes,
have
sir.
to see
Yes,
that
sir.
victory, so
Beautiful.
certain questions are harder for me to answer than others, brother. I can probably spit out the facts on certain things, but I'm
No,
brother,
all the answers are
I'm
great.
let's say living my best life.
Yes, sir.
I get to learn how to practice and be God in the person of Brother Lyle.
Yes,
And
sir.
he's using me to do wonderful works. And I get to use the example of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan every day. What more could I ask for?
Beautiful. Well, on that high spirited note and energy, I can't wait to put this on YouTube. This has been an amazing interview. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam and love to my believers in the 7th region.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, boom.
Walaikum salam.